Well, hello and a warm welcome to the Sound of Silence with me, your host, DrumPIPO. Today I'm going to be hanging out with an amazing musician. She plays the harp. Yes, of course, a harpist. I'm hanging out with a harpist, and it's gonna be a different set of show altogether. You don't want to miss a thing on today's show. It's gonna be lovely. If you haven't seen anybody play the harp before, please just hold on right there, and it's gonna be beautiful. This show is made possible by DrumPIPO Music and Music Production and a film company in Pretoria, East Ferry Glen, and also East Havens Music, based in Ferry Glen as well. It's a musical shop where we are shooting this very show right now. If you need musical equipment, these are the guys that you should look up to. They have quite friendly stuff all over the place, and they will help you and assist you get the best that you need for any setup that you are looking for. And also Ubuntu Stillwater. Where's my water? Oh, there we go. Ubuntu Stillwater. These guys are keeping us refreshed and also making this show a possibility. Thank you so much. If you are new to this show, please hit that link up there and it will take you to our previous show so you can catch up on whatever we are doing. So you can follow up and get yourself acquainted to whatever we are doing here right now. If you're new, also consider subscribing and don't forget to hit the bell so you get all the future notification of our upcoming shows. Until then, a warm welcome again one more time to the Sound of Silence, and stay tuned. The Sound of Silence with DrumPIPO. All right, guys, welcome back to the show, and it's me, of course, DrumPIPO. Today I'm hanging out with a harpist. You don't find people playing that instrument on the street. You don't find people playing that instrument everywhere. So it's actually a very unique instrument, and I'm so excited to be chatting with my guest here right here on the show today. It's gonna be amazing time. You don't want to miss any of our chat. Vivienne, welcome to the Sound of Silence.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you.
Pleasure to be
here. So tell me, where does the harp comes from?
So the first references for the harp is actually in the Bible of stories of David when he's playing the lyre, which is essentially a lap harp. And then probably in the early 1800s or so, they started making then pedal harps from the lap harp. So that's what I'll be playing today. And one of the first brands of pedal harp was the Erod harp. So they're a lot smaller. They've got a straighter soundboard, and if you find one, you'd be very lucky if it's still in playing condition. But then they just kind of progressed from there, and it became a lot of harp companies started competing against each other. So with that competition, the instrument really flourished, and they just made it, I think, the best that it could be at this point. So I currently play a Lion and Healy harp, which is made in the US. And then another big brand is Solvi, which is in Europe, and there's Kamak, which is also in Europe. But I think Lion and Healy and Solvi are the biggest harps in South Africa right now.
But what inspired you into playing harp?
It was actually my mom. So she played the harp. She studied music, and she started it as a second instrument in university, but then loved it so much and changed it over to her first instrument. And it was always in the house. So I was so lucky. When I was 1-2 years old, I would stand in my nappies and just gliss up and down the harp until I had blisters.
Do you have photos of it?
I do actually. Yeah,
I've got to see some of them.
I'll send one through to you. Yeah, so I've always been infatuated with the instrument and seen my mom's love for the instrument. And she nurtured me my whole life and never let me give up, which I'm so grateful for.
Wow, fantastic. Is that the only thing you play, the only instrument that you play?
I also play the piano. So I started on piano when I was about 5 or 6 years old, and then I carried that through to high school. But when I went over to the States, I predominantly focused on my harp, and that's my first and biggest love.
Wow. Yeah. I see you travel a lot.
Yes.
You go and study here, you go and study there and stuff like that. Does it mean that we don't have local teachers that are very good at the harp?
Yeah, we've got amazing teachers in South Africa. The problem is the ones that have stayed, they generally only got to their, for instance, masters in music. There's only 1 or 2 of them who got to their masters in music and harp performance. and we just don't have as much opportunity in South Africa for the harp. So with the orchestra work that I do, it's only periodic. They don't use it for every single concert. So there's just not that much opportunity, and all the other really good harpers that kind of went on to do really great things, they went overseas and never came back. So only a few of us kind of returned and are trying to nurture and grow it in South Africa so that kids have an opportunity to do it in South Africa if they can't afford to go overseas.
But you are here. Do you see yourself like having a harp school in the future or something like that?
Yes, I'm very passionate about education, and I'd love to open up a music school somewhere in KZN where there's beautiful settings.
Why that specific
I just
location?
think because it's secluded, and the music school I went to was secluded and beautiful in nature, and I think that really connects you to your instrument when you've got that focus and you've got this beautiful surrounding. And I know there's not so much in KZN with the harp now, especially. The harpist they had for the orchestra has just immigrated. So right now there's no one in KZN for harp. So I'd love to take it there, and all music, all instruments, and maybe even getting dance and theatre going. So it's like a whole collaboration where everyone can work together and see really what music and that kind of industry can do for someone.
But besides the orchestra, where else that the harp fits in?
So actually there's a lot of in jazz bands you can add harp. So that was one of my biggest passions. I never quite pursued it as much as I would have liked to. But one of my colleagues, Jude Harpstar, she's a phenomenal jazz musician, and she does a lot of jazz ensemble groups, which is really interesting. And there's lots of opportunity for harp. If you've heard of Florence and the Machine, she uses a harpist for everything she does, and she takes this one harpist on tour with her everywhere. So there's opportunities everywhere. We just need to get the instrument more known so people want to use it, because people often underestimate the power and abilities that the harp actually has.
People don't have access to it. Like I haven't met any harpist. Well, I've met one, but not in the country, like in Dubai. You know, but here I haven't really met anybody. You're the first one that I'm meeting.
There's very few of us.
So it's an instrument that people are not so used to.
No, definitely not.
That's why I'm a little bit amazed that you chose it. You know, because I admire people who go for the unique stuff. You know?
Definitely.
But I can't wait anymore. I just want to hear you play your first song for me. And then after that, we'll come back and chat some more.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. The stage is all yours.
Thank you.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Sound of Silence. And you heard that performance. It was amazing. It was beautiful, wasn't it? Look, I'm still hanging out with Vivienne here. That was a beautiful performance you just did.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I enjoyed it so much. I know that, those strings reminds me of Jesus.
Yes.
I don't know, but it just reminds me of Jesus so much. When you play those things, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, no, I find it a very, very angelic
Yeah.
instrument. It's my
Yeah.
link to heaven, and I feel so. I don't know how to say it,
At
but
peace.
most at peace and most myself when
Yeah.
I'm playing the harp. That's my way of communicating, and that's my gift.
That's right.
And that's how I kind of live my life and
That's
deal
right.
with things, is with the music and
That's
playing
right.
the harp.
But the full name of the harp is the harpsichord.
So the harpsichord was originally like the first version of the piano.
Okay.
So it had the strings, but you couldn't go louder or softer.
Yeah.
And then I think the harp evolved from that harpsichord, which looks like a piano,
Yeah.
but doesn't have that loud and that soft. It was all kind
Yeah.
of one sound, one level. And then
Okay.
the harp evolved from that to be able to use the strings but get the loudness and softness out of
Yeah,
it. So
yeah,
they took the
yeah.
keys away and then gave you that contact with your fingers, which I also find not many instruments have that one-on-one contact with that production of the sound.
That's right. How many strings has the harp?
So they range. The one I'm playing today has 47 strings, but you
Wow.
can get extended ones where you get like 49, 50, and
Wow.
then the smaller ones, you're looking at a range of about, you can get lap harps with even like 20 strings.
Okay. And then how do you tune it? How do you make sure it's in tune all the time?
So I've got to tune every time I play, pretty much. It takes me about 10 minutes because I try to tune it every day so it stays
Okay.
in tune. But it's got tuning pins on the side, and then just a normal tuning key, and I've got to tune each string individually before
Yeah.
I
But
play.
then how do you get to get every string in key? Like, do you have a tuner or?
Yes, I use a
Okay.
tuner. So some people are lucky enough to have perfect pitch.
Yeah.
It's not something I feel confident with, so I just use a tuner, and then I just make sure I get it right on the dot to try get it exactly in tune.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And then is it like in semitones or is it in tones or?
So it's you're working in octaves. So you've got C, D, E, F, G, A,
Okay.
B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B.
Okay.
So almost like the white notes of a piano is what you
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
And then your 7 pedals at the bottom are what gives you the sharp and flat. So like your black notes of
Oh.
the piano. So one pedal has 3 slots. So I can
Okay.
put my C in C flat, C natural,
Yeah.
or C sharp. And that's
Yeah.
also why the glisses, when you go up and down, sound so lovely on the harp. It's because you can put your pedals in harmonically. So you're
Yeah.
getting kind of like the real chord as a gliss instead of all the notes all at once.
Yeah, but then you see with the Arabs,
Yes.
they have instruments that play like monotones and stuff like that,
Yes.
and microtones.
Yes.
So they fall in between the semitones.
Yes.
Are you
okay.
able to like play in between the semitones as well?
I could do that if I tune the harp that way. So one of my friends that I made when I was overseas in America, he studied composition, and
Yeah.
he recently wrote a piece with a lot of that kind of slightly off pitch. It's not exactly in key.
Yeah.
So then I would have to tune the notes slightly out and then play like that. So you can do it, but not many people write that modernly
Yeah.
for the harp. They prefer the romantic French
Yeah,
kind of impressionist style for harp.
But that's a whole lot of work to do. I mean,
Yeah.
having to even train your ears, or does the tuner also helps you to tune that
Yeah, the
a
tuner
little
helps.
bit off key?
Well, see, there I'd have to, when I'm tuning off key, I'd have to use my ear to try
Yeah,
get it a
yeah.
little bit out there. And even when I'm tuning with the tuner, I still try play in my chord and in my kind of range of good
Yeah.
sounding notes, so I can hear, okay, it doesn't just sound good according to the tuner, but it also sounds like it's on pitch according to my ear.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Does it play like? Can you harmonize like the keyboard plays harmonies?
Yes.
Can you do that with the harp?
You can do that. So the music is very similar to piano music. The only
Yeah.
real difference being because of the pedaling, you've got to watch for very chromatic pieces that do
Yeah.
a lot of pedal changes.
Yeah.
And also we only use 4 fingers instead of 5 fingers to play, purely because as soon as you go into harp technique, your pinky just doesn't reach the strings.
Oh, so
you
it's this fingers without the pinky.
Yes, so
Oh,
all the fingers
okay.
except the pinky, just because it doesn't doesn't reach the string when you get into your harp position, but it's very similar to piano music otherwise.
Wow, wow. Have you tried playing with like a jazz band?
So I've done one or two little things with jazz bands. My problem is I'm not so in tune with my ear. I'm more of a reader and a player and learning things. So if they kind of go off and into improv, that's not my forte. But I have done a bit of it, but then I kind of keep to my structure more than they'll really feel and listen for it.
Yeah.
So that's where I lack a bit in the jazz department, but I really do love it.
Yeah, but do you want to like get more into it and improvise more? And
I would love to, yes.
yeah, because I think it would be amazing to watch somebody on stage without a score.
Exactly.
You know, just
Yes.
all over the place.
Yes, I've got one of my colleagues, Jude. She's very good with that. So I think I need to have some lessons with her because she actually studied jazz and contemporary music in California with one of the top harpists there.
Wow.
So that's the problem for me right now is I don't really have any teachers I can go to teach me improvisation.
Oh, that's why you travel
Yes.
out to. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, it makes sense now.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So what are you planning to perform for us, like the next set?
So the next piece will be the introduction of Rhapsody by Marcel Grangeny, which is one of my all-time favorite pieces. You can hear in the beginning it was based off of a Gregorian chant.
Yeah.
So it's got these kind of very abstract sounds for the time it was written in.
Yeah.
So it's a romantic impressionist piece. But it's got this very unique melody to it, and you kind of hear this choral and very religious thing behind it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's one of my absolute favorite pieces. The first time I heard it, I went straight to my teacher and said, "Can I learn it?" And she said, "No, not just yet. You have to wait."
Yeah.
And I waited it out, and now I finally get to do the piece that I really love.
Great. I really want to listen to it. Do you compose? Do you write your own music?
I've dabbled a little bit on piano, writing a few songs. I haven't done too much on harp. It's not something in my comfort zone, but it's something that I want to now that I'm feeling more confident in my playing where I am comfortable. Now I want to step into the next thing that's out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I've worked quite a bit, that friend I mentioned earlier from the States.
Yeah.
He wrote quite a few pieces for me when I was overseas there. He wanted to write for harp. So I prefer to work with other composers who have got that natural ability, but then you kind of tell them what the harp can do and how you can stretch it and the things that we haven't seen before. So I think it's really important to keep in touch with composers nowadays so we can keep that harp music going and keep it alive and not let it be seen as this old school instrument, but it can do all this really cool new stuff.
That's right. That's right. Because it looks, to me, the harp looks very ancient.
Yes.
You know, and that's why I say it reminds me of Jesus Christ.
Yes, no, it is.
But then the sounds that you hear from it, I mean, like, it's amazing.
Yes, you can do all sorts.
What type of gigs do you normally do?
So I normally do a lot of weddings. People love a harp at their wedding. And then I play quite a bit with the orchestras. I'm currently playing with the Johannesburg Philharmonic Orchestra, and we've got shows coming up in October and November.
Yeah.
And then a bit on the side, I've recently started an ensemble duo with a violinist. And we're getting into doing house concerts and getting ourselves out there and trying to get on stages more and kind of do what we really want to do. Because the problem is when you're doing the weddings, you're playing what other people want.
Yeah.
It's not really exactly what you want to do. So I'm going to start branching more into that now that I've got that opportunity.
That's right. But can you imagine like you playing a house music or a kwaito music with a harp?
I think that would be awesome. I would love to find someone.
So amazing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should think about it.
I want to find someone to collaborate with and get that going, because you can do anything and everything on the harp. It's something I've learned, especially with the requests I get from brides.
That's right.
I've been able to play Metallica, I've been able to play rap songs, I've been able to do anything and everything. So I really believe that we can get the harp out there in all aspects and genres of music.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yes.
All right, I won't take much of your time. I think it's been a lovely interview and I've enjoyed myself, and I can't wait for your next piece.
Thank you so much for having me.
The stage is all yours.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it.
All right, thank you so much for coming.
Of course.
All right, cheers. And of course, that was a lovely, lovely time. I enjoyed myself so much. And thanks to you. Thank you so much for hanging out with myself, Drum People on the Sound of Silence, and my guest, Vivienne Elizabeth. If you're new to this channel, please, if you're new to this show, actually, please consider subscribing so you don't miss any of our upcoming shows. And also, please stay safe and be good. I will see you next week on the Sound of Silence. God bless. Keep well. Stay refreshed.